I just froze. Woman horrified after drunk. Passenger exposes himself to her in toddler mid-flight. What started as an ordinary flight quickly turned into a nightmare for one mother and her young daughter after an intoxicated man allegedly exposed himself during an international journey. The woman traveling with her husband and toddler on a long-haul flight on Sunday, April 13th, initially felt everything was fine. The boarding process went smoothly, the cabin lights dimmed, and passengers settled into their seats. She remembered noticing the man a few rows away as the crew began meal service. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. He'd been given a special diabetic meal, and that was that. But as the hours ticked by, things started to shift. The man began ordering alcohol, a lot of it. Every time a flight attendant passed by, he'd ask for more. The woman noticed he was getting up frequently, likely to use the restroom, but she thought little of it. Traveling with a toddler was her main concern. Until something deeply disturbing happened. Mid-flight, as she got up to change her daughter's diaper, she felt something strange. I felt a hand brush against my butt, she said. At first I thought maybe I bumped into him, but his pod door was open and I wasn't close enough. He must have reached out and touched me. Unsettled, she brushed it off and headed to the restroom. She even made eye contact with him and politely said sorry, unsure of what exactly had happened. But what she returned to was far worse. Her husband looked at her, panic in his eyes. How long has he been like that? He asked. She turned and was shocked to find the same man, completely naked from the waist down. His blanket was draped loosely over his lap, but his genitals were clearly exposed, visible not just to her, but to her toddler and other passengers. I went into panic mode, she recalled. Her first instinct was to protect her daughter. As a flight attendant passed by, she urgently grabbed her arm and motioned toward the man's seat. The attendant's horrified reaction confirmed the seriousness of the situation. He didn't seem embarrassed or remorseful at all, the woman said. When I saw him, he didn't react. But when the flight attendant noticed, he quickly pulled his blanket up and shut his pod door. It didn't stop there. For the next hour, the crew repeatedly confronted the man, telling him to put his pants on. They approached him saying, "Sir, you have to put on your pants. What are you doing?" She remembered. It was overwhelming and disturbing. I just wanted to keep my daughter safe. Her husband eventually went to get more crew members for help. We shut our pod door and just tried to stay hidden. At that point, I didn't know what he might do. He was drunk and he knew I was the one who reported him. The man's behavior escalated further, pulling his blanket up and down as the attendants passed by. At one point, the lead flight attendant warned him that the captain might make an emergency landing if he didn't comply. Only then did he begin to reach for his pants, which shockingly were in the overhead compartment directly above the woman and her child. How did nobody realize this man wasn't wearing pants for that long? She wondered, still in disbelief. From that point on, the family kept to themselves. We just stayed in our pod. I didn't want to risk my daughter being exposed to anything else, she said. Flight attendants periodically checked on the man to ensure he remained dressed, but didn't confront him again. When the woman's husband asked for more information, he was told the man was a frequent flyer with high Delta status and that he'd never acted like this before. They were shocked, the woman said. The rest of the flight, 7 long hours, dragged on. The man was given black coffee, but the woman couldn't relax. I didn't even leave my seat again. I was freaked out. Toward the end of the flight, the man was heard quietly apologizing to the crew. They accepted his apology, but the woman wasn't satisfied. I really thought he'd be arrested when we landed. But that didn't happen, she said, still angry. It wasn't until later that she learned that once the doors close on an international flight, jurisdiction falls to the FBI. That explained the lack of immediate action, but didn't excuse it. Delta later acknowledged the incident in a statement, confirming that the man had been placed on an internal no-fly list while an investigation was underway. Delta has zero tolerance for unruly behavior, a spokesperson said, adding that they were in touch with the affected passenger. The woman later received a wellness check email from a Delta executive assistant who asked for more details and apologized for the incident. But after a week of silence, she turned to Reddit to share her frustration. The airline later responded again, citing confidentiality due to the ongoing investigation, and stating they would no longer respond to emails about the matter. Eventually, after reaching out directly to Delta's CEO, the woman got confirmation that the man had, in fact, been banned from future flights with the airline. However, for any legal action to move forward, they were told to file a report with the FBI, something she now intends to do. The fact that he exposed himself less than 10 feet from two small children, mine and my friend's toddler, is horrifying, she said. He deserves to be on a sex offender list. He needs to be held accountable. As she and her family work through the trauma of what happened, she hopes speaking out will raise awareness. This can happen to anyone, she said, and it's absolutely not okay.
For full video, click related link below or like and subscribe this channel.